All right. All right, guys, hanging out with the Glock 43. We're getting a first look here at their single stack 9mm that's new for this year. And guys, it's really no surprise to me that this gun came along when it did. You know, the Glock 42, you might remember our original video we did on it. Very cool little 380, but immediately when the 42 hit the market, people were going, we want a 9mm, and everybody was talking about it. Well, Glock listened, and they finally produced their little single stack 9mm. This gun is extremely new to the market. In fact, at the time of this video being made, it's not even been released yet, so we were lucky enough to get a nice exclusive first look at it down here at the farm and give you guys some of our thoughts. The rounds that I just logged through the gun were the first rounds that I've ever fired out of this particular gun. So we haven't had the gun in hand long enough to get a ton of time behind it, but we are going to put the gun through its paces for you today, making very short work here at defensive ranges. I'm going to go ahead and top off some magazines. There's certainly some similarities to the 42 and differences, mainly the overall size profile of the gun. Basically, picture a 42, slightly enlarged, a little bit longer, not really too much wider, and bam, there you are. You got the 43 single stack. If you're anything like me, you were probably looking at the Glock 42 and thinking, all right, how can I make this thing, stuff a 9mm mag into it and then ream the barrel and try to make my own, Mad Max 9mm. Believe me, a lot of us gunsmithing types were certainly considering that, but it is a purpose-scaled single stack 9mm. The magazines hold 6 shots, and you get 1 in the chamber, so it makes for a 7-shot gun. I'm just going to load some mags here while I talk about it. Magazines load nice and easy, pretty much exactly like you would expect out of any single stack pistol. The magazines I have available right here to me right now have a couple of different configurations. You've got a standard 6-shot, which is fine, and then you've got their standard 6-shot with the thumb or the finger rest on the bottom. Now, I'm sure as aftermarket part support becomes a little bit more available for this gun, we probably will see some type of added accessories. Magazines that hold more rounds, possibly. I can see this gun being very successful in the concealed carry market. So as today's video goes on, we are going to put some carry ammo through the gun. I want to test it with a variety of different hollow points to see how well the little gun can digest all of those rounds. So right now we're running just some 124 grain full metal jacket blazer ammunition, okay? That just happens to be what we had laying around. I'm going to proceed to shoot the gun a little more. So far it's running pretty nice. I've got steel from shootsteel.com here. 7 yards, 10 yards, 12 yards, and we got some sodas back there at about 15 yards away, so not terribly far. I do have one little gong posted way back there in the woods. He's about 70 yards away. I know it's a small gun, but I'm curious to see what we can accomplish there. So I'm just going to take my time here. Not bad. I'll tell you what, let's try our gong way back there. Just see if we can connect with him. Right to the left of him. There it is. It's eluding me, guys. I got to get him. I hit him once, but that's not really what this gun is made for. Just curious here, that's all. Kind of a high hold I'm having to have on that gong at 70 yards. The rounds are kind of skewing over to the left a bit, but hey, a couple of connections there. I'm going to load some more mags. Really glad that I had a chance to get a hold of this gun today because it's a gun I've been seriously considering as a concealed carry piece. I've always been a fan of a single stack 9mm, and to most of you guys, it's really no mystery that I'm a fan of the Glock 26. The Glock 26 being a very similar gun in terms of overall profile of the retail or the space it takes up in your pocket. But the 26 is double stack, so obviously it's going to take up a little more room in your pocket or inside the waistband, wherever you're going to carry it. I know a lot of you guys have really been waiting for this gun, and I'm definitely one of them, so I'm glad I had a chance to get out here and shoot it some. So far it's not running bad, although there are some sodas over there that I think need to be silenced because they're sitting there laughing at me for missing that gong back there. That's okay. See if we can't shoot a few of them. Mags aren't too bad to load. All right, let's try it out, and then we're going to try to stuff a few hollow points in it just to see kind of what we can expect there. But our goal with this video is just to give you a first look and to shoot the gun a good bit. So see if we can take out a few of our evil sodas back there. That one is just eluding me. There we go. All right, I got the one swinging. Let's try a Plinkster style trick shot here while he's swinging. There we go. Let's see if I can nick the one beside it on the side and see if it can spew out and make it kind of spin around a little bit. We'll make ourselves a little soda helicopter. I am using ball ammo, so let's see if we can nick him. I got to try that again. That's crazy. All right. Oh, man. That one didn't really spin like I wanted it to. That's all right. I got a few rounds left. Let's try again. Ah, eluding me. Just swinging there, laughing at me. It's okay. Well, guys, so far reliability, I mean, I know we haven't fired thousands upon thousands of rounds out of the gun. I mean, and bear in mind, this is a very early Glock 43. Literally like one of the first Glock 43s that's out there, period. So, as with many guns that are new, there tends to be some amount of growing pains that are to be expected. But honestly, when the Glock 42 came out, we didn't really see any issues with failures or problems that I can, determine. But I don't really see this as being any different. I mean, the nice thing about the 43 is that at its heart, it's a Glock, guys. I mean, what do you expect? So, shoot a few more mags here. This is just too much fun. All right. I'm going to pick up the pace a little bit here. Oh yeah, I like that. See if we can pick up the pace and speed that up. Now guys, we're at 7 yards right there on that D28 there. That's certainly within the limits of what would be considered personal defense range. And I was wrapping those rounds out of there relatively quick. Now, obviously, I'm not drawing the gun. There's not really a lot of holster options out there for it just yet, although I'm sure there will be plenty of aftermarket support for the gun once it gets out there on its feet a bit. This gun will be out in a few weeks. It's going to be a little while before it's available. They're going to be releasing this gun in conjunction with NRA show up in Nashville, so they'll start shipping them very soon. I'm going to try that again because it was just so much fun. And then we're going to reset the range and come up with some other fun things to do here. But it's always a good day when you got a box of ammo, nice weather, a cool new gun to play with. So, all right, I'm going to try that again. We're going to pick up the pace here. Oh yeah, that's just getting them out of there, guys. Awesome.
All right, guys, I'm gonna take a few shots with Glock 43 here. You know, Glock is kind of one of our neighbors here in Georgia, so just kind of worked out that we were able to get it out here to the farm. It's pretty cool, actually. But first shots I've taken with this gun. So I'm gonna run a little bit of the CCI Blazer brass through here, just kind of a chink plinking load. And then I'm gonna proceed to run about 5 hollow point loads out of it. We've got 5 more that Eric's gonna test a little bit later on, but we'll get to that in a minute. Let's see how this thing runs. All right. Uh-oh. Manual of arms there. Sliding a lot to the rear. I think I was holding down the slide release. Let's try a little bit different grip on this little bitty guy. Let's try a little go for it. Oops. Certainly puts him in there. A little bit more recoil impulse in the 380, of course, but very, very manageable. Awesome. Take a few more shots with the ball here, and then I'm going to proceed to run some hollow points. You know, I'm impressed with the recoil impulse from the few articles that I've read on it. You know, people are complaining the recoil impulse is really stiff and they had to change their grip around and things like that, but I don't really find that to be the case. I find it to be just kind of like a big 42. If you got a good solid grip on it, I mean, I don't see any issue with it. The sights pick up really nice. This one actually hits a little bit to the left for me, and that's just aiming dead on, squeezing the trigger. So, works out pretty well. 6 shots. 6-shot magazines, kind of low on capacity, but I'm sure somebody will come out pretty quick with a little 2-shot extension for it. You know, the shields are a little bit taller gun. They're a very, very popular single stack carry piece. And, you know, I have to say I've shot the shield before, but I prefer this gun. You can call us Glock fanboys if you will, but I carry a 19 just about every day. And I think I'll start carrying this one every day too. All right, let's take a few more shots, and we're gonna run some hollow points and see how it works with a variety of ammo there. Spanks them out of there. Dude, I love it. All right, guys, I'm gonna run some hollow points through the gun. You know, this is designed as a carry gun, so obviously you wanna run some of your favorite hollow points through it. We've got a variety here. I'm gonna be running some Remington Golden Saber first, proceed to some PMC. These are both 115 grain loads, and a little Federal hollow point, just a personal defense, and 115 as well. And then we're gonna move up to some of our favorites. All right, Golden Sabers. All right, let's see what we got here. 6 shots. Let's try defensive range here at 7 yards. Fed just fine. All right, so we got some PMC 115 grain hollow points here. 7 yards again. 115 grain Federal hollow points, personal defense. Spanks them right out of there. All right, so we've got some Federal 124 grain running pretty fast. So these are probably kick a little bit harder, a little bit more felt recoil in the gun. But that's what you want out of a defensive load. So something you want to take to the range. Just try out of your gun, make sure it's going to feed and function fine. Uh-oh. Let's see. Okay. Oh yeah, it's a little bit more stout there. I love this Federal ammo, so accurate. All right, let's try our favorite. This is what Eric and I carry on a daily basis. Federal 124 grain HST. All right, Federal HST, 7 yards. Oh yeah, that HST lets you know it's there. I'm gonna load up a few more of those. I'm gonna take out those sodas on the back wall there. See how well they come apart with some hollow points here. This gun is just a joy to shoot, it really is. You You know, like we did the Glock 42 video a little while back. That gun is just, it's a little gem. It doesn't really have a lot of felt recoil. It's something you can take to the range and shoot all the time. I mean, if you do need to practice with it, it's not going to kill you, it's not going to beat you up. That's one thing I don't like about the little bitty compact 9mm that are out there. They just don't lend themselves well to taking to the range and actually practicing with the gun, because they're very uncomfortable to actually fire just in a repeated session. But I could take this gun out and probably run through this entire case of Blazer and not really have any qualms about it. Let's get one more round here. 6 shots. All right, let's see if we can take out some of those sodas on the back. All right. Oh yeah. Uh-oh. I'd say those hollow points really do the job.
All right, guys, well, Chad there was shooting pretty dang good with the 43. I don't know how I'm gonna follow that up. Several of his strings there with that carry ammo were pretty much putting right in one spot there at 7 yards, which is exactly what you want. You want the gun to shoot at point of aim, put the rounds where you want. I'm going to proceed to test fire a couple of the little bit more exotic ammo. I know some of you guys are a fan of the RIP ammunition, so I've got 6 rounds of RIP. It's 90 grains. I know that's going to be a question I'm going to get from a ton of you. Will it run RIP? Well, here we go. Going to try it on our 7-yard gong. Well, guys, look at that accuracy. That's pretty good, okay? I might have pulled that first shot. Occasional little gremlins will always present themselves anytime you're doing this type of stuff. All right, next we're moving on to the Lehigh Defense. It's 105 grain maximum expansion. Now guys, before we leave today, I do have some ballistics gel laying around. I might have to pop one of these in ballistics gel because I'm really curious to see what kind of penetration and permanent cavity we get out of this thing. These things are monstrous, and they're also known for being relatively finicky sometimes in certain guns. So we're gonna try it in our little Glock 43. All right, I'm gonna cheat my point of aim up and shoot a group on this same gong here. I'll tell you what, I'm gonna go to the one to the right there, a fresh gong. We're gonna try her out. All right, guys, 7-yard accuracy, it certainly doesn't get any better than that. So moving along, guys, here's a nice, good old standby. We got Spear Gold Dot and 124 grain. For many, many years, this has been the standard for a lot of people. If you talk to anybody that carries guns all the time or carries guns for a living, most people are gonna be like, oh yeah, good old Spear Gold Dot. So this is a very popular round, very common round. So we're gonna try it out here. Alrighty, I'll tell you what, I'm just gonna aim to the right a little bit, find me a spot, and we're gonna group this. All right, guys, that particular round has got a much more pronounced recoil impulse. You know, that plus P, 124 grains, really getting out of there. Before we move on with the video, finish things up, finally, we will run on to some plus P plus buffalo bore, so make sure you stay tuned for that. All right, guys, so moving along with our hollow point testing, I dug up a kind of an odd round here. I went up to Moss and I just pulled one of every hollow point I could find on the shelves to run through this gun here at the last minute. This is actually Remington High Terminal Performance. It's HTP. It's a 147 grain subsonic. I know that's a little odd. Not too sure that I would, you know, carry that round or whatever, but we're gonna try it just to see what the accuracy's like, make sure it'll function in the gun. One thing that Chad and I both had in the way of minor issues, this gun does not like to have the slide stop ridden on the top round to load it. Now, generally, most of you, if you've had any training behind a pistol, if you're loading the gun in a combat situation, you want to physically rack the slide, pull back and let go. That way you get that full amount of momentum to push that first round out of the magazine to load the firearm. So that's one thing I noticed. May not be of any consequence. Then again, this is a brand new gun right out of the box. Just thought I would mention that. All right, 147s, subsonic, here we go. Well, I'll tell you what, that little load right there just purred like a kitten. It wasn't, didn't kick at all, wasn't very loud from what I could tell, even though I have ears on. That's a pretty good little load. I can't wait to try that out with a suppressor. I might have to pick more of that up, give her a try. All right, guys. So here we got some 124 grain plus P plus buffalo bore. All right. Now, a lot of companies don't recommend to fire plus P plus ammunition through a small gun like this, not only because of the snappy recoil impulse, but because some companies, I'm not going to mention who or anything like that, will not warranty the gun if it's had large amounts of this ammunition fired through it, because this stuff is hot, hot, hot. You're talking about 465 foot-pounds of energy and 1,300 feet per second with a 124 grain bullet. Guys, this stuff is stout. Can't wait. All right. We're going to group it here. Here we go. A little bit harder to control the gun. I can imagine that in rapid shots it would be hard to keep those jostling little rounds on target. They certainly shoot good enough for defensive work. And one other thing I want to do before we move on, we're going to pop some ballistics gel next, but before we do, I'm going to group the ball ammo, our 124 grain FMJ. It's a blazer. I didn't have a lot of varieties of ball ammunition available to me to run through the gun. I know that I tried to make up for it in trying to run some of the defensive loads, because I figured as a concealed carry piece, this would probably be a little bit more important to know what type of hollow point rounds the gun would digest. So I'm going to group the ball, and then we're going to move on. Not bad. So we saw that across the board, from FMJ to hollow point at defensive ranges, no matter what it is, the gun is certainly capable of delivering the goods accuracy-wise. Now this is just 7 yards, and guys, this is just a first look. All right, this is just meant to be a sneak peek to kind of see what the 43 is about. We're going to shoot some ballistics gel for you guys, and hopefully you guys have an idea of what's going on in this video. You can kind of see what we're about here with this thing. Awesome. Let's do it. All right, guys, as promised, we're going to run the Federal HST. I considered only running this one round because it's the one that, you know, Chad and I usually carry in a wide variety of different guns. But we've got so much ballistics gel with us, I think I'm going to test several, and then we'll close things out. But I really want to see what the little Glock 43 here will do with a variety of different carry ammunition, because it is a concealed carry pistol. Let's go ahead and pop this block. Whoa, yeah. That got through there. Let's have a look. All right, guys, the Federal HST did exactly what I expected it to do. We got a nice, just over 14 inches of baseline penetration, maybe slightly under, a nice permanent cavity, good temporary cavitation. You can see in the slow-mo footage there. Good weight retention, bonded core projectile, generally barrier blind. Excellent load. I don't think anybody's going to refute that. Many of us are Federal HST kind of guys. We are going to move on to showcase some other loads that you may not be familiar with, or some of the ones that, you know, maybe some of you have been curious about but just don't know a lot about them. So let's go ahead and move on, and we'll close things out, but looking pretty good for the 43 so far. Probably one that some of you haven't heard of. It's the Lehigh Defense. It's the 105 grain maximum expansions, moving at 1,150 feet per second. And yes, I did have the box here to help me cheat, because I can't remember things too often. All right, 105 maximum expansion. Guys, check this out. We ready? All right, let's go have a peek and see what that round did. All right, guys, so we can see that the 105 grain maximum expansion from Lehigh Defense penetrated just over 10.5 inches of ballistics gelatin. This is a 10% FBI block. That's certainly very good penetration out of the little 43 there. It's a very small gun. I know a lot of folks wonder about barrel length and what projectiles will do in terms of expanding as intended from a concealed carry gun. So the 43 being a very new gun, I thought it would be fun just to shoot a couple into ballistics gelatin. All right, tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna turn this block around and we're gonna shoot the same block with the rip ammo. It's a 90 grain rip. Let's do it. All right, guys, so moving along, we're gonna give the 90 grain rip a try. I think it's 90 grains. The box doesn't say. Don't quote me on that. We'll plug the details into the video here, but we got the rip representing here. Representing. All right, let's try it. Oh, that was ugly. Let's go have a look. All right, guys, we saw that rip, that stuff does not play around. That center core pushed almost 14 inches into this block. Now that is a considerable amount of penetration. You see as the round dumped its energy, we had several petals that jettisoned themselves. Looks like about 4.5, 5 inches into the target, creating a ton of individual wound channels. Very, very wicked little round. I've always liked the rip. I like the Lehigh as well. These are two very, odd rounds that not a lot of people get to see, so I thought it would be interesting to showcase these for you. We're gonna move on to a couple of good standbys and we're gonna close this video out, so let's shoot some more gel. All right, guys, so moving along, we're not gonna have enough ballistics gel to test every load, and I'm sure you guys don't wanna sit here and watch all of that, so we're gonna try the Remington Golden Saber. It's a brass jacketed 124 grain projectile. The reason we chose this round for the test is because it's very reasonably priced and you do get 25 rounds of ammunition for a relatively reasonable price. So we're gonna try it through the Glock 43 here, see how well it works. So here we go into the ballistics gel. In case I didn't mention, we're running clear ballistics and it's 10% FBI gel. All right, let's have a look. All right, guys, so the Remington Golden Saber punched all the way through our FBI block here, all the way through that block, and kind of barely pooped out the other side and rolled over onto the table, and there it is. So it just had enough energy to make it out the end of the block. Now, guys, this is not a bonded core projectile, so that's why they can produce this for the cost that they do. But weight retention, probably not horrible. Expansion, decent. This is probably not a load that I personally would kind of hail to, but for the price, it certainly beats ball ammunition and it's certainly accurate enough, seems to do the job. So there's your Remington Golden Saber. We're gonna try one last load that I'm sure you guys will like, and let's move on. All right, guys, well, last but not least, we're gonna be running the Gold Dot 124 grain plus P. We chose this round because it's a very popular round. A lot of them are out there. People love gold dots. So let's go ahead. It's gonna be the last one, then we'll wrap things up. Here we go. That had a little snap to it. Let's go have a look. All right, guys, well, luckily, with that last round there, that gold dot, Chad was able to scrounge around in the woods. It had straight line penetration all the way through the block. No telling how much more it would have penetrated, and we found it over there in the woods. I don't know how Chad did it, but good expansion, bonded cores, so you got good weight retention. Looks pretty good there. Gold Dot's always been a solid performer. I knew that going into this. But I'm gonna get Chad over here. We're gonna give her final thoughts, close this video on out. All right, guys, we're wrapping things up. I think it's safe to say that the Glock 43 is gonna be an awesome contender. At the time of this video being published, they're not available yet, but they will be in stores very soon, hopefully within about the next 3 weeks or so.
Hopefully.
I wanna thank Glock for taking the time to let us check this pistol out a little bit early, get a kind of an opinion out on it, and for them to kind of give the little guy a chance to get in on the action too. So the gun's awesome. I love it. I've been waiting for a 9mm single stack from Glock, as many of us have. I mean, the 42, awesome gun if you're into 380. Some of us are just 9mm types of guys, and for me, it's a winner.
Well, a lot of people were holding off on the 42 just because they figured that a 43 would be coming out here before too long. And on the size of the gun is very nice. The frame size is pretty much identical to a 42 as far as the length of the grip goes. It's just a little bit wider and a little bit longer. I mean, just a touch more weight, but I've been holding off on a Shield for the longest time. Everybody praises them, and I do like the guns, but I've always carried a 19, and this is just this is just a smart step in the right direction for me for like summer carry and whatnot. You know, I was drawing it from concealment earlier, just you know, testing out on a couple of 10-inch shoot steel rounds, and you know, from about 6 yards, 7 yards or so. And the gun draws really smooth. And I didn't have any magazine pouches, so I was drawing magazines out of my pocket. But you know, fairly easy magazine changes. I mean, 6 shots. I'm sure, like I said earlier, that somebody's going to be coming out with some 2-shot extensions, so you get 9 total rounds. That'll put it right in there with the shield. But this is a much shorter gun overall. You don't have that large base plate sticking out or large grip sticking out like the shield, which is a concealable gun. Sure. But I think that I'm going to prefer this one. I can't wait to get my hands on one.
Well, I mean, the little gun ate every single hollow point we could put in it. And for me, that's always been one of my qualms with some of the single stack 9s on the market, is some of them can be finicky about what hollow points they'll feed. Now, I know the video's not really meant to be a do-all, say-all, you know, thing on the subject, but I feel that, you know, showing those guns, you know, or the gun running with, you know, the various amounts of hollow points is pretty cool.
It's kind of the idea. It's going to be a defensive piece. This gun, although it's easy to shoot, you know, and I've read a couple of articles where they talked about the real snappy recoil. I didn't notice that. Maybe we just shoot a lot of handguns, I don't know, but I didn't really have a negative opinion about the snappy recoil impulse. No. I found it to be just a little bit more than the 42, to be honest with you.
Not really bad at all. I don't feel like the recoil impulse is anything that would keep it from being a range gun, something fun to play with.
No. I mean, we just sent that probably 300-400 rounds down range just in this session here, and the gun didn't choke one time. Now, we did have a couple of issues with the slide release. You know, just dropped the slide release and a couple of those hollow points hung up, but racking the slide manually works every time.
Yeah.
So if you want ultimate reliability, you might want to get something that you can, you know, drop that slide release on, but you just have to test out ammo. And that's kind of what we wanted to show with some of those hollow points running down it.
Absolutely.
Great little gun.
I agree. Well, guys, this has been just kind of a first look at the 43. We will be doing more work with not only the 43, but other Glocks in the future. Again, I want to thank Glock for coming down, allowing us the opportunity to get our hands on this gun early. Guys, we appreciate the support, all of the emails, phone calls. They don't go unnoticed. We do appreciate all the nice words and everything. So we'll catch you next time. We got a lot more on the way. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't. Many more first looks, lots of SHOT Show coverage, various, just everything. We've got, we're dealing with so much stuff on a regular basis. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss anything. We'll catch you next time.
Take it easy, guys.